So people on earth are consistently struggling with different things. You know, Jesus once said, and it's something that's confusing to some people, why would this person that talks about miracles and all this great stuff, why would he have said, you will always have suffering? You'll always have poor among you. Why would he say something? Why didn't he say, we're going to change everything? Because what he's saying is, this world is overly designed by the ego to constantly have problems, challenges. And we can learn attributes such as the ones you named. Let's practice surrender. Let's practice compassion, finding our path, dharma, and practicing enthusiasm. These things cannot fix the world per se. These things are what help to fix the world, heal the world. But the world we see is not the one that becomes heaven. What we do is we peel off the false world to find, as Buddha says, the one that was always there. So it's not just a little more compassion and everything's going to be fine, believe it or not. We have to forgive the world we see. And how do you forgive the world you see? Forgive yourself for everything you contribute to the world you see. Forgiveness is the key. Compassion is a way of dealing with the world you see. But it doesn't necessarily repair it, meaning take it back to what it originally was, which is heaven. So we're not going to be able to fix the world we see. What we do is focus our mind on a different world that's there but not visible. Our belief systems are designed to be ego-based. And because we're choosing to see a fallen mind, we see a fallen world. There's a Jewish saying, we don't see things as they really are, we see things as we are. So it's not the world, it's our consciousness that needs repaired, believe it or not. It's not a little more this, or the right politician, or the right law, it's nothing of this world that can fix the world, as Einstein said. Something else needs to happen. And one good thing about that is the concept of surrender. And we've done talks specifically on these topics: surrender, happiness, joy, and so on, compassion. But what's nice about this is I don't have to really do anything to make a better world. It's already there, but I can't see it. So I have to heal me. I'm in the way. In what way am I in the way? My programs, my belief systems. So what we underestimate is the power of the spoken word. And I guess we're going to talk about that today, the power of the spoken word in relation to these topics you're asking about. So we run on these programs. It's an interesting thing. I did a talk here once on the power and magic of the spoken word. So a little bit related to that, but also different. The power and magic of the spoken word. It's some people are really fixated just on, like almost hypervigilant about the words you speak. It isn't the words you speak. It isn't anything external that will fix the world. It's our internal consciousness. But Jesus tells you, it's the consciousness, not the actions. When they're talking to him about adultery, he said, if it's in the consciousness, it doesn't matter. You've already messed up. Just because you don't act on it doesn't mean you're pure. So people that behave properly, they're just in hell. Inside, they're tormented. I want to be a better parent, and I keep messing up. I want to be a better partner, and I keep messing up. That's tense, man. That's so tense. Why can't you just become what you'd like to be? Get the consciousness there, and the words you speak are going to reflect the consciousness. So there's people that are hypervigilant out there going, oh, never say the word don't. Don't ever say this or that. And they're all worried about it. That's not what gets you home. It's the consciousness. If you eat organically, but your consciousness is twisted, it doesn't do you any good. If you speak only words of, oh, the I am and love, and then go, oh, she looks terrible in that, it's not doing you any good. It has to be mind, body, soul. Good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Everything kind of lined up. Now, the trick is if you take that as a religious proclamation, make your words and thoughts, and then I sound like a preacher. And if you don't, you're going to hell. Now we know I'm a preacher. It's not it's this. It's actually a good idea. We have to fall in love with love. We have to go, I love that idea. I love the idea of thinking loving thoughts, feeling loving feelings, having loving beliefs, and speaking loving words. That's what it has to look like. If you're not interested in it, it's like forcing someone to go into a rehab. Most of them end up climbing the fence and running away and wasting the money. Why? Because they haven't actually decided that that's where they want to go yet. So we have to decide that love is that attractive. And if I'm not there, it's going to be hard to convince me. All you're going to do is scare straight this person. Force them. And that's not what works. The power of the spoken word, this isn't going to be a preaching per se about that sort of thing. This is an encouragement to realize my beliefs are behind everything. I either believe I am as God created me or I don't. Some people are going to tell you, no, it's your thinking, like your cognitive thinking. Your cognitive thinking is not the highest part of your brain, nor is it your highest consciousness. That's more solar plexus-ish. The heart is where I hold my beliefs. If my heart is off, my mind is going to be off. In Chinese medicine, if Shen is corrupt, the rest of the kingdom is corrupt. This has to make decisions. I love this idea. Wow, I really love this idea. Now it's going to be easier to get your thoughts to get in line with it. If you don't love the idea of compassion, surrender, freedom, oneness, and you still think, no, I'm not going to give in. I want to be broken. I want to be, conflicted. Or meaning, I want to hold on to some resentments. There are people I'm not going to forgive. There are things I've done, that are so unforgivable. That means you're not convinced that love is the best yet. So that's fine. Own that. That's where you can practice compassion. At the very least, practice compassion and say, I would like to be more forgiving, but I'm not there yet. So I'm just going to try to feel compassion. See, compassion isn't the highest level of forgiveness, but it's one of the highest. So I can say, I'm just going to try to feel compassion for the inner child in me that made some mistakes. That sounds kind of nice, doesn't it? But one day you're going to realize it was only in the illusion that I made the mistakes. Therefore, I never actually made them. So therefore, I don't even have to forgive myself. But that's later. For now, I need to still practice compassion for all the naughty things I've done. And compassion for those who have done naughty things to me. Which still means there's a doing. I'm having to forgive, or I'm having to practice compassion towards others. See, there's a doing. There's a moment where the light bulb goes off and I realize I'm a holy child of God. Who could have ever done anything to me? Really. Only in the drama. I was an actor. I played in a movie. And in the movie, I was tormented by somebody. It was a movie. See, if the actor goes home and says, I can never sleep well again because of what happened in the movie, it doesn't make sense. You need therapy. If you start believing the scenes in a movie, you need some help. By the same token, what if this is a movie? And it is. This is a holographic representation of our inner belief systems. That's why someday, and I'm not saying you got to get this today, someday when we get that, forgiveness becomes so easy. That. It's no different than waking up from a dream. Oh my God, I did a dream. That person was doing that. I can't believe it. But you start to go, wait, it was a dream. That's what we have to do on planet Earth. It's just not seeming likely because this world keeps pushing and emphasizing that it's the only real thing that is. And in fact, it's the only false thing that is. This world is not real and it's not true. But while we're here, we have things to do, such as practicing compassion and getting to a place of forgiveness. The power of the spoken word to reflect something I talked about in that other talk. The power of the spoken word starts from your birth started with. See, the power of the spoken word is a reflection of creative energy. The power of the spoken word means I have a thought. See, when you have a thought, it's like a theory. When you speak it, you took the theory and you manifested it. Even though it's not three-dimensionally manifested yet, you brought it through words into the three-dimensional realm. That's called creation or creative energy. Well, there's higher dimensional creations that aren't three-dimensional. But God spoke the words, let there be light, which is the day you were created. Let there be light. Jesus says, I am the light. Exclusively? No, he means Christ that's in us is the light of God. So when God said, let there be light, boom, that's the day you and I were created. That's the day there was a quickening, just like in an actual embryonic kind of a birthing, an egg fertilized. But in the traditions, the mystery schools, the paganisms, and so on, it's all the same. It's a blank canvas, and the Spirit of God moved onto the blank canvas. It means I have a thought, but then there needs to be, let there be light. If I only passively think, it's a contemplation. When I speak the words, it starts to become a manifestation and not just a contemplation. It becomes a creation. And then the creation can become a manifestation. But what people don't realize is you're always thinking. And it's not good. It's not like 99% of your thoughts are actually, I am as God created me. You know, right? I'm late. Oh, this could mean my job and what's going to happen. Okay, and then if I lose my job, then this is going to happen. Oh God, now I don't get to keep my dog because I don't have money for food. And oh my God, I'm going to lose my dog. I can't believe it. That's the 5th animal I've lost in this lifetime. It's like, it didn't even happen yet. But the mind just starts taking off on stuff. It is believed, and it's, been established and proven that we have thoughts that you don't even know you're having. Well, how many? Let's pretend it's only 1 million, and it isn't, it's more. Let's pretend you have 1 million thoughts a day. And then they tell you, most of them, almost all, are negative. Wait, I don't like that. I want to redo. Give me a different kind of a mind. Okay, choose again. That's how you get a different mind. Okay, I'm choosing again, but it's still happening. See, choosing again is a theory. You got to practice it. You have to step up and practice it. Watch the inner dialogues. Watch for the warring twins within. Gemini kind of a reference. Watch for that inner struggle, the doubting Thomas. Watch, but don't hate yourself for them. Practice compassion. Wow, where did that come from? And do even laugh at some of it. Whoa, I just went on a tangent of 2 minutes, 5 minutes or whatever, which seems like an eternity sometimes, of like, I'm a complete failure. And all I did was burn some toast. And I went into all this, I can't even lift my head off the counter in the kitchen because I'm just such a lowlife. And all you did was burn toast. Take out another slice. Really, it's easy to solve. It's not how the ego works. And what's worse is people walk around speaking all of this torment without realizing it. You don't speak most of it because your mouth couldn't keep up with the thoughts. But you speak a lot of it. Oh, that figures. Words like that. Oh, here we go again. Right? All those kinds of words. Now, what happens? Well, better watch out. There's supposed to be, somebody was saying this week, no offense if it was you, but I heard somebody say this week, oh, the weather, God, it's so gloomy. It rained for the first time in like 8,000 years. And you're like, oh, cloudy day. God, buy a sun lamp and stay in your house. Jesus, Lord, man. It's great to have some rain. But somebody's going, oh, and I was like thinking, compassion. It's so odd. But somebody walks out there and says, oh, it's a gloomy day. Now, somebody else hears that, and then they repeat, it's a gloomy day. Somebody else hears it, and somebody else hears it. It's called a virus. It is a mental virus because people on this planet, oh, the election, well, you know what's going to happen. I think there's going to be revolution in the streets any day now. A lot of things that people talk about, it doesn't happen. Most things you predict in your life don't actually happen. Oh, I just know I'm going to lose my job. You know how many times you've thought that and how many times it actually happened? You've thought it 5,000 and it happened once. Does that mean that? Is that a prophet that I should trust? One that's never accurate? But we do this. And I'm saying we barrage ourselves with these belief systems, guys. Negative thoughts. Agreed? No. Now, we start programming accordingly, which means I've picked up the virus from you. Now I'm repeating it. And now not only did your thoughts become your words became my thoughts and they became my words, and it passes down. Now everybody walks around the planet spreading a virus. A mental negativity virus. Old and New Testament, as well as other teachings from other cultures, tell us God is a God of love. We even hear in the Old Testament, God did not create fear in mankind, but instead a sound mind. Well, wait a minute. What happened to fear of the Lord? And what happened to misrepresentations? God did not create fear in mankind. Then why is it there? Because we fabricated it. We allowed ourselves to create an ego. We allowed the ego to talk incessantly. We heard it. We programmed it. We spoke it. When you speak it, you start manifesting it. Try to catch these things while they're still internal and heal them there before you do this and speak them. When God said, let there be light, we were created. When we said, let there be darkness, this world was created. And we can uncreate it. Not just by making more manageable spiritual concepts, that's part of it. We have to change our beliefs, our thoughts, and absolutely the spoken word. The old traditional abracadabra is basically like a translation from Abba. Abracadabra is like saying, God wills that this be. But what is it you're trying to will that it be? Think about it. If I'm having a negative tirade and I just go, no, stop. You didn't uproot it. You just left it on pause and moved on to other thoughts. Do you know how many thoughts you have that are left on pause per lifetime? Trillions. All the ego needs to do is tap the button again and it starts up again where you left off. Instead, think, select text, delete, empty recycle bin. Gone. Delete it. Don't just move on. Go, wait a minute. What was that? Highlight it all or select text, delete it. Make a more conscious role in creation. We don't like the world we created, but people are doing very little to change that world. So it's like, wow, I've become part of the problem. I'm letting this virus get to me. And people think, well, you only manifest things that you speak. No, speaking it helps it into manifestation. Thinking it is also doing something. All of the thoughts do something. Oh, I thought only really dramatic thoughts. No. All thoughts are doing something. But if I have a negative thought, let's say it's about health, and I put it on pause and I don't speak it, there's an energetic, not only does this world have a third dimensional reality experience, beingness, it also has an etheric, an astral, and a mental level. Like layers of bodies, let's call it. When I have a thought, it feeds the mental body of this planet. When I have an emotion, it feeds the emotional aspect of the planet. So just because you have a negative thought and you think, well, I didn't do anything with it, it fed the overall mental or intellectual body of the earth. And the evils of the world sap into that. They sink their teeth into that and feed off of that. So your negative emotions that you don't want anybody to know, it's psychically being drawn from. A lot of people don't know. You have a computer in your house. And when you go to bed at night, you think, okay, I've shut my computer. Your computer's actually never off. There are systems that are drawing information and using your computer memory to keep a global level of memory kept somewhere. Your computer is on even when you think it's off. Okay? It's the same principle because computers were designed to replicate the way the human mind works. So even when your computer's off, it's actually being accessed. And even when you think you've put emotions aside, they're being fed off of. You need to heal them. You need to uproot them. You need to bid them farewell. Give nothing of the evil of the world, the ego or evils or whatever you want to think it to be, systems, give them nothing to feed off of. If people realized how much their darkness feeds a dark world, they would want to change it immediately. But people prefer living in ignorance. That can't be true. No, there's no way my computer's actually still being, sapped, tapped into. There's no way that the world knows my negative thoughts. You can't hide them. They're energetically there. So we have to heal. We have to uproot. Not just me practicing compassion with you or surrender with myself, but all of my wounds and issues. The ego loves to work off of unhealed wounds, not just current stuff. It's mostly fed by unhealed wounds. You want to do your part, then heal those things. Leave nothing left, no stone left unturned. Nothing inside that you're not willing to work on. Fearful words, but thoughts and beliefs as well. Fearful thoughts, words, and deeds. Fearful beliefs, they destroy us, and people don't want to know it. And you think that, well, there's one you had. Guys, it feeds a collective. My own little secret emotional something over here that nobody knows about, the collective does know about it. And it's feeding off of it. If people only knew. It's like waking up one day. I usually, get in the mirror and you comb your brush your teeth, looking in the mirror. And suddenly you realize one day, I never look at my back. Oh, look, a leech, a giant sci-fi kind of a leech. I've never noticed it was there. I felt an occasional twinge of ache, but there's this leech. That's what it's like. Oh my God, I hadn't thought about that old wound. It's sucking energy from you, and you just don't know it. Psychically, they call it attachments and so forth. It's all part of that disturbed world. So when I am stuck in wounds and fears and I'm hearing people say things and I repeat them, I'm actually adding to the man's manifestations of this world that are not of God. But I have an alternate possibility. If I repeat stuff that my ego and your egos talk, I'm contributing to the problem. But I can also start believing, thinking, feeling, and speaking words of God. You see, if you're repeating negative ego-based stuff, you're channeling evil. See, it's not just Satanists or something. Everybody's channeling evil. Some are just doing it more consciously and specifically. Everybody on the planet tends to contribute to channeling evil. When you repeat, not just hurtful words like gossip, but when you feed into repeating stuff of the virus. Oh God, a gloomy day. Or, oh, you sneezed. You probably have that thing. All of that. What is wrong with you? So God is saying, why don't you try channeling me? Use your words as decrees of life instead of death. Use your words to affirm, because your words are betraying you. When you say, there is only God. In God there's no lack. Get behind me, Satan. Or things like, meaning, when you stand for the truth of God, you're channeling God. Otherwise, you're channeling fear, which evil feeds off of. And then you sit down on your couch and you turn on the news to make sure you know what's going on. You already know what's going on because you caused it. You fed into it. You fed that thing. You're just watching to see self-fulfilling prophecies. Turn it on. Oh, I knew it. Well, of course you knew it on some level because you're the one who brought it about. Speak decrees of God. Speak decrees of life. Right? I mean, it's like stand up like the John the Baptist type. Maybe not as extreme. But John the Baptist, even when he's in the jail, and even when Herod says, you know, John, if you could just back off a little on being who you are, we'll not kill you. John's like, you're going to kill me anyway. I don't care. So he just, oh, and the Lord, and he's down in the prison cells, disturbing everybody's reality. And I'm not telling you to preach, literally. I'm saying to hold your own. The truth of God. That I don't care what you tell me this world is, I can choose a different reality. There's this concept of people so vigilantly speaking about what they are having or what they don't have. Instead of decreeing what they're choosing, they speak words about what they have and don't like. All that's wasted energy. Again, I want to make it clear. I'm not telling you to be hyper vigilant where you sit there, oh, I shouldn't have thought that. That's not helping. I'm saying find the excitement, one of the words, enthusiasm, that you guys gave. Find the excitement, the joy, the enthusiasm of, wow, plugging in. I actually feel better. Have your psychological colonics. Have your, have stuff cleansed out. But because you like it. Don't do it because, or else. Do it because you actually get it. This just feels great. This just makes sense. Right? Just wow. And start realizing all the teachings from all these great teachers and systems throughout the world, thought systems, they're really all encouraging. They're not negative as much as people think. Traditional religions have a lot of negativity because they're channeling evil into something called a religion. But there was also God that was channeled in those religions at times. Why aren't you reading those parts? Why are you reading fear the Lord instead of God did not create fear? Then why would I fear? Read. You get to cheat. You get to be selective. Oh, I like that scriptural passage right there. It makes sense. Oh, that one says God's going to kill me someday. No. You get to do that. You get to edit now because we're entering a new age where what you think matters instead of just being what's told to you. It's so discretion, spiritual discretion. I choose to be awake, therefore I'm only choosing that which is loving. It's just the ego that ever made me think less of myself. So in the beginning, God said, let there be light. That was my birth. So now what we're really just saying today is, are my thoughts, beliefs, my words, my emotions, are they reflecting that light? And I get to decide, you know what? I just had some thoughts that don't feel very light. Fine. Compassion for myself, and then choose again. Just choose otherwise. Wow, this is kind of amazing. And try it out. When you go to the grocery store and you hear people talking, I'm not telling you to walk over, excuse me, but I heard you speaking negatively. And that's adding to a virus that creates an evil throughout the world and so on. I didn't tell you to correct people. I said to be different. And if I hear those people talking, what I could do is go, oh, they just don't get it. Or I could go, that's funny. I was just hearing about this and there they are reflecting it to me. I've done that. I've been there. Probably be back there today sometime. But I get it. And I'm saying no to it. How could I respond differently? Even if you're just hearing in the next aisle in the grocery store, oh, God, I had to call it AAA to get my car out because there was a whole half an inch of snow on the ground. And I just don't like driving in the snow because you know what happens. It always leads to accidents. Terrible, You're allowed to say, wow, am I really that disturbing? Because you are. We're all in this together. Wow, that reflects an option for me today. And I get to say no. Don't shame, other people. Just see it as a reflection to learn from and go, wow. Instead, I give thanks. I give thanks for the power of God. I give thanks that in God there is no lack, therefore there's none in me. I give thanks that I can call upon this power. This isn't superstition. Love is actually a force and a power. When I call upon love, my life is good. And stuff can still happen in this world, but I'm not going to lose sight of my knowing the truth. That even if I were to die, I'm in the light of God. Even if someone deserts me today, I'm in the light of God. I refuse to buy into any more of the gossip, the virus of consciousness. And least of all, I don't need to speak it. And when you feel like you do need to speak it, do your best to find a safe other that knows how to handle it instead of, ooh, and they take it and go to the grocery store and repeat it again. Ask people, you know what? I need to take a minute because some stuff came up. It's not my intention to hurt or hate anyone, but can I? Yes. And if it were me as your counselor, I don't mind what you say. You could tell me I hate everybody on the planet. I wish them all the worst. I will not believe that that's the real you speaking. I'm not going to shame you for it, nor am I going to feed into it. Oh, I know what you mean. Let's start a hate.com website and copy everybody. You know? No. I'm going to hear you. I'm going to feel compassion. I'm going to understand why you feel the way you feel. I totally get it. But I'm going to choose, for your sake and mine, to at least in here, if not here, know what we really need to be doing. In my heart and mind, if not in my words, but also sometimes in my words, I'm going to be able to say, I understand. Yeah, it's a very challenging place, isn't it? Oh, it's more than challenging. I hate every human being that's ever been. Yeah, I don't blame you. See, I'm bridging. Yeah, I feel that way too sometimes. That's bridging, not shaming. That's compassion, not impatience. We hold that, we know that, and then if, only if, I see an open door for the right word, then I'll bring the word. If not, I'll just hold it in here. I'll hold it in my mind that you and I are going to a better place. In my mind, I might be saying, God, I'm so grateful that you found me to be a safe person to share all that, because that's a burden you've been carrying. And there's a chance that once you release that burden, you're open to something else. And because we're one, and I'm choosing the something else, I'm already downloading it to you without you even knowing it. I'm being the presence, the power of the spoken word. Kick butt. Step up and use the power of the word. Recognize, I am as God created me. There is no lack in God, therefore there can be none in me. Really learning to center in the power of who I am, because I am as God created me. Now I just need to get what I am to also speak what I choose to see. People will obsess on the where they are in their life, what they don't want. And as you complain about it, you're decreeing it again. How's it going? Oh, these kids of mine. Decreeing and decreeing. You're speaking it into manifestation. Oh, frustration with these kids. And they just come back as your kids next time because you never got over it. So instead, catch it, see it. Wow, isn't that amazing? I was feeling frustration. Acknowledge that. Give it to God. And then switch into the master, the God, the goddess. Switch into the one that can say, however, here's how I feel, but here's where we're going with it. Thank God and bring in the holy decrees. Bring in this great, great presence. You have the right to. I am as God created me. I am the light of God. I really am. I know that. God created me and said, let there be light, and I'm that light. Then why do I speak so dark? Why do I fear and doubt so much? Literally start stepping in and practicing, speaking, bringing consciousness into the spoken word and manifest a different world. This can be done, and it's inevitable. Whatever else you might believe, cancel it with something and replace it with something else. The will of God. God wills that no soul shall perish. What does that mean? That must be good news. Perish doesn't mean just die. Man, I'm drowning in bills. If God wills that no soul shall perish, it means it is not God's will that I drown in bills or in illness. But nobody's stepping up to be a healer. I know they're trying to fix the body, but nobody's stepping up and saying, no, we're not going to settle for anything less. Just boom, the will of God. Jesus didn't say, Lazarus, if it's not too much of an imposition, it would be kind of cool and impressive if you could maybe rise and come out of the tomb. God didn't look upon the lepers and whatever. Oh man, hopefully this will work. He said, get your butt up and out of the tomb. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I'm dead. Jesus was like, I don't believe in death. Get up and move. Get out here. Because God's will is greater than your opinions. So leper, be healed. This was easy. It's not like Jesus, oh, geez, this one's going to be tough. This is a quadriplegic, not just a paraplegic. This is cancer, not just a cold. He's saying, heal thyself. What does that mean? He's saying, don't you guys get it? This world is a lie. It's a rumor. And you believe it, and then you pass the rumor that everything has power over you. So weird. And yet, there's another way. Get up. Refuse the rumor. Going through a divorce, I don't know, I can never love again. I can't believe that somebody, heartbreak, and I know, and I'm sorry. Cry. You get to have your cake and eat it. If you need to cry a little longer, cry. But 5 years is too much. Somewhere between 5 minutes and 5 years, there was a line you crossed. You needed to fast, but don't starve. So just at some point, that's enough. Get up and come forth, Lazarus. Get up. The little girl that was dead, and he heals her, and she rises from death. It's a metaphor of what we could be doing. Use your words wisely. Use your words to decree the truth of God instead of the rumors of fear and evil and ego. Just try it. It's amazing. Walk around your house and, whether you live alone or with somebody else. And you know what? If you live with other people and they think she's starting to go insane, we think it's mental issues because she is 180, that's fine. Let them think what they want to think and just say, guess what? This is the new me. So if this seems a little out there, move. Because this is me. And even if you lock me up and say, this person's unstable, they talk to God a lot, then I'll be in a cell somewhere talking to God. But I'm not going to stop. Ever. It's not going to happen. Bridge with people. Don't force it on them. But in your house, in your own way, walk around. And when you hear a negative thought, stop and go, what was that? Laugh at it a little. Wow. You woke up. I remember this doctor, he once said, he got up one morning and brushed his teeth and he saw this black spot in the back of his throat. And he's like, oh my God. He had to schedule an emergency appointment. He had to wait and worry every hour. It's got to be cancer. It's just got to be cancer, throat cancer, So he's obsessing and worrying. And he finally gets the appointment. The guy, he goes in, the doctor inspects his throat. It was a piece of chocolate stuck to his throat. That's the opposite of what he was thinking. This is sweet and good, but it was the opposite of what he was thinking. But he obsessed on it. Now, don't shame yourself for it, but laugh. God, that was, wow. I just went to Nestle hell. Wow, really? Laugh at yourself, but don't forget, next time it happens, say to yourself, now remember last time this happened. Call out the one that gives the weather forecast, and they're usually not right. Call it out and say, I don't have to put chains on my tires yet. And it's the same with these things. Just watch when it's happening. Speak decrees of God. Walk around your house. You have a thought, see it. You have a nightmare, see it. And you're afraid. You know what? You're awake anyway because you've been woken by a nightmare. Since you're awake, just say something wonderful. This dream just caused me to feel fear about such and such, but I am a holy child of God, and I affirm that this is not possible because of who I am. Start talking some cool stuff. Say some great decrees. And when it comes to the spoken word, the name Christ or Jesus Christ, if you can do that one, the name Christ is the most powerful word ever because it represents who you really are. And that's the highest power in the universe. We created the universe. We're the highest power in the universe. So when you say Christ or Jesus Christ, and Jesus himself, he's a person who was the first to completely wake up, was given the keys to the universe, and he has mastery over every law, natural and supernatural. Every law of every dimension throughout all time. So this person isn't just kind of a wise individual. He actually has the keys to it all. He actually is the one of us that woke up first, and he's done it on our behalf, which means you and I have also, on some level, woken up. So when you speak the words Jesus Christ or Christ, you're speaking your own I am presence. But you're also calling on a brother. Don't just call on, a three-dimensional person. And don't just call on your deceased mother. Go all the way home, man. Call on the power of God in the highest form you know. Even you want to call on your angels, that's fine. But you could go even higher and call on God. Don't beg for things to change in your life. Anything you would want to change is not real and powerful anyway. So don't let your prayers be begging. If that's there, fine. Own it. Please, God, do it. Get it out of the way. Then see it for what it is. Now, I just did all that. Instead, what I'm going to do now is seek first the kingdom. Not beg for the non-kingdom to not happen. Don't let them leave me. Now you're begging for the non-kingdom, to happen. Why not see that, own it, surrender it, and then call in the kingdom of heaven, which means the consciousness of God. Call it in. Please, God, give me a little. That's not what I mean. Affirm it. God's love is here now. If there's anything in my room, my house, my property, my being, my thoughts, my consciousness that is unlike love, I bid you be gone now. Only the presence of Christ is allowed here. That's how you cut ties. That's how you cut cords. That's how you rid yourself of old patterns. Don't beg for them to be gone. It doesn't make sense. If you go to a healer and say, please make this go, you're saying this thing is powerful. Are you a powerful enough shaman to deal with this? Because this is big stuff. You've just told me that it's going to be a challenge, and now it will be. Instead, you can say, look, feels like big stuff. But please attract a healer that says, I got it. Not, I don't know. Don't even pay them. Leave now. I don't know. This is a real tough thing. 90% of these just don't get better. Leave. Go to somebody who says, yeah, got it. Right now. Boom. That's beautiful. Speak to somebody that can say, Lazarus, come forth. Fear, be gone. Shadows, gone. Demons, out of that person. Find that in yourself, though. Find that. You can fake it till you make it. But go that direction. Stop the whining about what is in your life or isn't that you wish were, because then you're decreeing that that's the power. Find a different thing to focus on. Watch the focusing on the evils of the world in words, thoughts, and deeds. Switch to thinking God thoughts. Channel God. And don't worry about it being pretty. Just channel God. Yeah, wow, walking through your house. Wow, I'm noticing, I'm going to need to clean. I got to vacuum the floors. And any thoughts you have, and just bring God into it. This is great. I got to clean the floor. Wow, that's a metaphor of sweeping up the garbage in my life. I'm excited to get the dang vacuum out now. Now you're, and you can chant, ooh, with your vacuum. You turn it into as much of a spiritual thing that you can enjoy as possible. It's okay. Make it something to laugh at that you once believed something else existed and had power over you. It's impossible. Please take a few centering breaths. First, listen, was there anything you heard today that made sense? Absorb it as your own now. Anything that you didn't agree with, just let it pass. Just no big deal. Let it go. Anything you heard, gain. Never just come to my talks and sharings and our sacred services and just listen. Become something different. You should never leave any teaching the same as when you arrived. Absorb something. Wow, yeah, I got to try that goddess God consciousness. I got to practice that mastery. I've got to speak up against lies and gossip of life in the world. Whatever it is you got, absorb that for a moment. Think about the beauty and the power of decreeing victory in the face of loss. When we don't, it's because our pattern and preference is to stay in the dark. Listen to these words and meditate for a moment on this statement. Instead of thinking about and speaking about the mire and plight of the body and the material world, again, instead of speaking and thinking about the mire and plight of the material world, I'm choosing to speak the desire and might of my soul. Instead of the plight of the body, the might of my soul. That's the main point today. A new level of consciousness. It's not one that's really new, but it's one I'm newly choosing. Let that just unwind like a time-released capsule in the consciousness. Let it just wow. Let it become like a wow. Choose to speak about what you choose to have instead of speaking about what you don't have or have and don't like. That's the fundamental difference. Speak words of a better choice instead of complaints about the ill choices. And see this happening in your life. What if, let's pretend and meditate this for a moment, what if you are becoming a master in this time, in this hour of a service? I am becoming a master of my thoughts, words, and deeds. It's okay. I still have stuff negative come up. I just select the text and delete it. I just deal with it as it comes up. Then I choose otherwise. What else do you choose? See yourself being proficient at this. Just catching, switching, catching, switching. Emptying out the cup of the old ways. And then what does it look like when you become a master of decreeing or channeling God? You're channeling God when you speak things that come from a healthy soul. What does that look like? No more begging that you don't have an issue. Instead, you see the issue, you surrender it to the Mother, the Holy Spirit, and then you start kicking butt and decreeing what really is. So spend the last half minute imagining decrees coming to you, channeling. Let them come, doesn't matter how pretty, just some sort of powerful statement about not what you don't want. If you want to acknowledge what you don't want, only acknowledge it has no power over you. And then get to the opposite. And instead, what? What could you decree? Powerful. Powerful statements, decrees. Decrees are like affirmations on steroids. You can't beg a decree. It makes no sense. A decree means I know, and I'm affirming it firmly and stating it firmly into the ethers, which then becomes a blueprint to become manifested. All that God wills for me is coming to me now. All the goodness. And you can add those others, the opposites sometimes, and say, despite the way the world is in turbulence over government, God is my own thing that governs me. God is all that I allow to govern me. You, God, are my government in mind, body, and soul. The rest is just rumor that goes back and forth based on people's moods, and their moods are dependent upon their belief systems. Twisted. No. For me, the only governing comes from God. You help me know what you'd have me do, what you'd have me think, see, believe, speak. I want to channel God into every moment. And it doesn't always have to look like decrees. Someone's sad, and you can even use words that are more subtle, like, I know everything's going to be good for you. That's a decree, but it's sounding just very conversational. Bring the presence of God. Let's allow this new year, this 21, to start another decade, but very different. And even as the world goes through its not birthing pains first, it's first going through the hospice aspect of death. Somebody needs to be the hospice workers, the midwives to the other side. The world as we know it, knew it, is dying. Own that, surrender it, and decree, and a better world is coming forth. I know that to be true. I can hear it in my heart. It's God's will. Everything else was only the rebellion, was only the preference to keep God out, edge God out, EGO. Instead, wow, this is great. The presence of God. Yes, I know there's some pains, but when you look at a person who's passing over, do you want to tell them to focus on the pain or the light that they're going to be entering soon? Acknowledge the pain, take their hand, give them some verbal morphine, hold them if you need to, that's fine. But tell them, guess what? You're going to soon be in the light of God. When they say, I'm afraid, say, oh my God, I wish I were you. I would love to be walking into that light any moment. It's not my time yet. I'm going to be anchoring light here for people. You get to be there. No sorrow, no, I'm sorry to see you go. No, I hope you're going to be okay. I hope the Christians were wrong and you're not going to hell. That's not how you would speak to them. Speak to them with firm clarity. Wow. Good job. I admire you. Put in a good word for me when you get to the other side. Show confidence that you believe in that person's being. And then, of course, every day do it for yourself. And so it is. Thank you all so much. Take a moment to stretch out, a deep breath, and for a minute or so, just sound together. Oh. Keep going. Breathe when you need to, and then keep it going. Keep going. Allow that sound to carry our prayer, our decree, the message of today, and our feeling of goodwill to everyone. Allow this sound you're doing to go through the universe, all time, all dimensions, all beings. It's just loving the hell out of everything. Just penetrating, permeating, dispersing anything that is unlike love. God being made manifest everywhere. Our tone was simply saying, let there be light. Because that's all that really is. The light of God surrounds us.
We are the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
We are the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
We are the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
We are the presence of God.
Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. So beautifully shared. God bless you all. Thank you for being with us. You're welcome.